Welcome to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show where we discuss political matters, local, national, in a fair and balanced manner. I'm Rueben Abati in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. My name is Rueben Abati, your host for This Day Live Sunday Talk Show. Now, today we have new faces on the program. Here we have a seasoned journalist, former managing director and editor-in-chief of the Guardian newspapers in Nigeria, Emeka Izeze. Mr. Izeze, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. Also
joining the Sunday Talk Show is a very distinguished Nigerian economist. He's the CEO of Economic Associate, Teriba. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
And of course, there Olawale Olaleye, who is deputy editor at This Day on Sunday, and a political journalist.
Good evening, sir.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Now, we go straight to the first issue of the program, which is the week that was. Wale, what has been happening in Nigeria and elsewhere?
It's been quite another interesting week, as usual, and we had a lot of controversial issues to deal with in the week that just ended, particularly the Operation Python Dance 2, which took off in Abia State against IPOB members. And that actually was about a major issue that we had to deal with in the week. But of course, we also had some other things. For instance, the National Assembly, precisely the Senate, has promised that they would look into power devolution in the moment they resume after their recess. Our president, as we speak, has left for the United States for United Nations General Assembly. Obasanjo, in the heat of the IPOB crisis, advised the president to engage Kanu, and that, of course, was another debate entirely. Also, we had the Dino recall still going back and forth, like
you mean Senator Dino
Melaye, like Japanese yo-yo. The doctors have called off their strike, the resident doctors. There is this interesting news about JAMB revenue spiking from 3 million to 8 billion. I'm yet to come to terms with that reality. Maybe in the course of our discussion, we'll come to that also. Flood was said to have displaced about 10,000 people in Kogi. Atiku, former vice president, said he would fight corruption better if given the chance. I like the sound of that. Nobel laureate Professor Wale Soyinka also said it was sickening to canvass for President Buhari's re-election at this time. And of course, the customs seized a container of large arms, the third in a row from Turkey this year, and that's another interesting news. I think that's like a recurring decimal when we're approaching an election cycle in the country. So I wasn't...
it shouldn't be difficult to know who the importers are.
Precisely my thinking. And then on the international scene, there was a terror attack in London, our own London, a sad one, but the security, agencies in London are doing very well, in containing the situation. And already a few people have been arrested, including an 18-year-old. North Korea-US crisis still on. The man in North Korea said he would deal with the United States and Japan. And he wasn't just threatening. He actually launched another missile over Japan. I mean, the guy in Japan isn't joking at all. And then the Rohingya crisis is another one I think we should look at. And then, of course, there was a fire outbreak in Malaysia, killing about 25 people, majority of them students. That was sad. So by and large, it was a week of mixed reports, not too pleasant, if I may say.
Yeah, but I guess it's interesting that the president came back from London, and then is off to the United Nations General Assembly. The United Nations General Assembly, of course, is an annual thing, attended by presidents and other stakeholders. And this year, the theme is even an interesting one. It's about, sustainable and decent life for all on a sustainable planet. and the focus is people. And I think that is an important theme, and it's a good thing that our president has gone there. But some people are a bit worried. They say, well, should the president travel so early after returning? And then he leaves the United Nations General Assembly, he goes to London again. And the assumption is that he's going for another...
It's just a whistle stop.
Another medical checkup. But the statement has not indicated when he will return. Yeah. So people, I guess, have a reason to be anxious. What do you think?
I personally, I think the president attending the UN General Assembly is a good one. He's been away from the scene for a long time. He spent 103 days in London, attending to his health. And then since he's been back home, he's tried to manage his health and the workload too. That's also quite commendable. And then going on the international scene this time to show the world that, look, it's not as bad as you may have heard. I think it's a good one. Then I'm not surprised he'll be stopping over in London to see his doctor. I mean, you should have expected that.
as an indication of it's not worsening health condition.
Yes.
I think going to the UN is good for him and good for us. And those we're dealing with internationally will need reassurances. And those reassurances will be provided by seeing him on a one-on-one basis. I understand he will be meeting with Donald Trump, President of the United States. He will also have side meetings with a number of leaders. The schedule is not going to be very heavy for him. It's easy to manage for a man who is recovering from a very bad ailment. And so I think that both as an assurance to our partners internationally and to put us where we ought to be as a leader from this part of the world, I think it is important that it should be there.
Well, but do we stand to gain anything strategic apart from this?
It's a global flow. It's a UN General Assembly. It's a question of which nation is not represented. Be part of the dialogue. First and foremost, what you gain is secondary. And it's good that our president is able to show up for this match, if you want to call it. If you want to call it that. What he does on his way back is not the issue. It's important that he shows up at the UN.
I think it is the issue. It probably is just as well that he's getting off to the United States, and from there he will stop by in London. I think that no, because it's clear that he's not fully recovered. The indications were there that he was bound to get back to his doctors at some point. They didn't give him 100% clean bill of health. They just said they think he's strong enough to get back. I'm not sure they think he's strong enough to get back to the schedule, the rigor of running Nigeria. I mean, you can have that experience.
You are not sure. You are not sure, and we don't know.
Yes, but except for providence, I'm not sure even full recovery is possible. We don't even know the cause of nature of his ailment. So, I mean, except for providence, like I said. So it is expected that from time to time, he will be making such stopovers.
Yeah, I think the more important issue is that he shows up at the UN.
Yes, for me too.
But I mean, I've also had to...
He's shown up at other key national... and that's good.
Some people have expressed the view that...
A long time out. It's good that...
what view have people expressed?
Well, they've said, look, at a time when there is crisis in the southeast, with Operation Python Dance, which you refer to, that maybe the president should have stayed back at home.
That's the vice president.
No, it might also be an indication that it doesn't consider that the problem in the southeast is threatening enough. You might say that this is an expression of confidence that
situation is under control.
Yeah, and is military is in charge of the situation, and But I think that it is important that he goes to the UN. If he didn't go to the
I'm
assembly,
not sure anybody's going to have a
it would have
problem
been
with
a problem
that. Yes.
altogether.
It's
Ultimately,
important.
he's right.
He represents.
I share that
But,
sentiment.
but you truly imagine that the stopover in London will be a stopover?
I envisage it.
Because you sounded like you were so sure.
We shouldn't speculate.
Like you were so sure.
I sort of saw it
He
coming,
was saying
actually.
no, it will be because it's brutal.
Anytime he's traveling, be sure he probably will be stopping by in London. Be sure.
What makes you so sure?
It's important for his
The
health.
fact that it was included in the itinerary means that they want it on record.
On record,
they didn't
yes.
want it to come out as something
yeah.
that took everybody by surprise.
surprise, yes.
So you know now that it's going to stop in London. I think it's an attempt to manage his health situation slightly differently.
Did they
not-
say that the stopover in London is about health?
No, but
they didn't say.
they didn't have to tell you.
You are filling the gaps now.
But we can read
Between the lines. Yeah.
Anyway, see, another thing that happened during the week is this issue of the Nigerian military declaring the Indigenous Peoples Organization of Biafra a terrorist organization. And if you look at a statement by the Director of Defense Information, it looks like if you are caught with a machete or a stone, or a broomstick, you could be branded a terrorist. I don't know whether you read that statement or whether you followed the story.
Let me tell you my initial reaction. The military, merely branding anybody a terrorist doesn't necessarily make the person a terrorist. And I don't think they realize that it is a very serious issue that we're dealing with. Because, it's the same question I raised once. When you put Kanu on trial for treason, I said, usually, before you go on trial on such a charge, you would have decided that when he's convicted, and if he's convicted, you put him at the stake and shoot him.
We'll take a break, and we'll come back later on the program to look at this in greater detail. You are watching the Sunday Talk Show here on the Arise TV channel with me, Rueben Abati, in Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. We'll take a break. Do stay with us. We'll be back.